Flying out to Houston and being 24 hours out from the marathon, I was really more excited than anything else. There's always going to be a little bit of nerves, but I think that's your body and your mind's way of telling you that you care. I spent a lot of the week leading up to the race reflecting back to the beginning.
In 2018, I had just turned 30 and I wanted to see if I could still do hard things. I hated cardio at the time, so I figured what could be harder than running 26.2 miles. Back then, I had no time goals. At first, it was just to finish the race, but once training began and I got more immersed into the process, I said, why not up the challenge and go for 4 hours? It was difficult, but that first cycle, everything was a new personal best. Each week, I was either running a distance that was further than I've ever run before, or hitting paces that I never even thought I would be able to. I had fully embraced the process, and that made training so exciting.
Back then, I didn't know about world marathon majors or Boston qualifiers. Or did I ever think that one day I would be able to run a sub-3 marathon? I mean, when I started in 2018, my all-out mile was probably a 7:30, around there, and that left me on the edge of puking. Honestly, I would have laughed in your face if you said that one day I would try to run at 6:50 per mile pace or faster. For 1 mile, let alone 26.2.
The following year, I finished New York City, my first marathon, in 3 hours and 29 minutes. I thought I had cracked the code, and how hard could shaving off another 30 minutes be? I ran 5 more marathons after New York City. The Berlin Marathon left me devastated. Even though I was able to shave another 13 minutes off my PR for 3:16, I had viewed it as missing sub 3 by 14 minutes. I blew up at the half marathon mark, and that left me in a dark place for another 13.1 miles. This is still the only marathon that I've truly considered walking off and DNFing. I was absolutely defeated. 6 weeks later, I did New York City for a second time, but this wasn't gonna be for a sub-3 attempt. I had barely put in any additional training after Berlin. I needed those 6 weeks to take a mental break to recover. I did New York with no expectations, no time goals. Just running for the sake of running. 3:11, wow, another 4 minutes PR. This taught me that rest is just important, if not more, than the training. After New York, I knew a sub-3 was possible, but it was also becoming a weight I carried around. The next year, Chicago was a very strong build, but on race week, I caught the flu. 3:15. The marathon owes you nothing. This time I was not devastated, just disappointed. I knew the fitness gained would carry over, but it is exhausting putting in 16 weeks of dedicated training and not being able to give it an honest attempt. Progress is not linear, and you won't always PR every single race. London Marathon, 2023. I cut back my cycles from 16 weeks to 12. This was a very strong build, but I sprained my ankle 3 weeks before the race. It felt manageable by race day, and everything was feeling great through 18, but suddenly I hit the wall. I was left stunned and confused. Immediate reaction during the race was maybe I had hit my limit, maybe this was my plateau, and sub 3 was not possible for me. Why keep putting in all this time just to keep coming up short? I later realized I was underhydrated because I miscalculated how much water I was intaking, because London gives out plastic bottles instead of cups. Each attempt and setback came with a set of lessons and made me hungry for another opportunity. After London, I took 2 weeks off with absolutely no running. and my injured ankle actually developed some tendonitis and got so stiff. It actually hurt to walk, but the stubborn part of me still believed I could BQ in 2023. So I searched for a summer marathon, even though I could barely walk without pain. 4 weeks of rehab, and I cobbled together 8 weeks of brutal on and off training. Sri Chimnoy on August 24th, 3:08:30. I had missed the finish line, but I didn't hit the wall. The effort actually felt easier than London. I would have had a mini PR. This gave me the confidence that it was only a matter of smart training and staying healthy. But I needed to reframe how I approached training mentally. I wanted to recapture that beginner's joy I felt with my first and not live under the shadow of a 3-hour time goal. Yo, good morning. It's 4:30 a.m. on race day. Hey, time to go. Time to get ready. Let's do this.
Chilly weather this morning did stop thousands of runners from taking part in the Chevron Houston Marathon. After all, what's a little cold when you have a race to run, right?
This morning we want to make sure that we celebrate you and your victory today.
I was feeling good, but resisting the urge to go any faster. It seems silly, but 3 to 5 seconds faster per mile stacks up quickly. I learned I'm best when I run even effort, even splits. I've never raced well banking time. What feels good early can destroy you later. I remember London, so I stayed in control. And it's good when the first 10 miles just feels like a warm-up and it feels like you're holding back. I was staying extremely relaxed, just taking in the crowds and smiling. I would not repeat the mistake I made in London. I thoroughly researched the course. I knew the overpass climb that came at mile 12 and the rolling underpasses in 20 through 24. So I was mentally prepared for those. I also knew they had Gatorade and water roughly every 1.5 miles in cups. Shout out to Brian, the pacer. He really did a masterclass job of hitting even effort splits. He warned me that mile 14 through 18 would be much quieter, and also the 20 miles per hour wind would work against us. Houston really has such a strong 3-hour pace group. In my last 2 marathons, a lot of the pack had already broken up by the halfway mark, but not today. We were at least 20 to 30 strong, and one person in the group even mentioned how beautiful it was hearing our cadences sync up. So from 14 to 18, I tucked behind the pacer and the group and allowed them to block the wind for me. At mile 18, I was still feeling good and loose. This is when I first allowed the thought of this might be my day. Once we got to 20 miles and I knew there was only 10k left, this was when the race really began. I silently said a goodbye to the pace group and secretly hoped that I would not see them again until after the finish line. My watch clocked me running 6:33 pace for miles 20 and 21. Maybe I got a little too excited, but I just kept repeating, today is the day. With 5k left, I started feeling the beginnings of a side stitch and twinges in my legs. But no more looking at the watch. It wasn't a matter of if I was going to do it, but by how much. There will always come a point in a marathon, if you're racing all out, that it will hurt. And you just need to run with your heart and your guts.
1 mile left, let's go.
Every run. 90 days. Brick by brick. Running really is as much mental as it is about the training. Reframing how I thought about and approached training has been huge this cycle. This feels so much more sustainable.
Let's go! Let's do it! Top 3, babe! Great job! Great job! Oh man! Beautiful day! Great job, guys!
Yeah. What a good time. Dude, I almost...
Thanks for the push.
Congratulations,
Thank you for volunteering.